Well, hello everyone. My name is Mitchellmander, and today I'm going to be doing a video on my predictions for the Alola League and what I think the outcome of this league will be. Now, I originally made a video back in August of last year, which was the first video on this channel. And this video was mainly a joke video. It was nothing to really be taken seriously since we were a year away from the actual league. And I kind of jokingly said that I thought How would win this league, and he would win in Sun and Moon's comedic style, a lifetime supply of Melisadas. And yeah, that was a more so a joke. But this video is going to be a little bit more serious and more what I actually think is going to be happening now that the league is actually going on now. Now, Sun and Moon has been a very unpredictable series. If you would have told me a year ago that we would be having a battle royale to start off with the preliminaries, I wouldn't have believed you, but here we are. It's very interesting, and I'm definitely intrigued by this because it's something different, and I do like that Sun and Moon is trying something different. So that's cool. Anyways, I want to get on with my predictions, but before I do, just be aware that these are my opinions. If you disagree with them, please be respectful in the comment section below, and I will respect your opinions too, and your predictions as well. So, without further ado, here are my predictions. So, starting with the Battle Royale. Now, I'm 50-50 on how this is going to go, how they're going to go about this. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to predict that all of Ash's classmates will make it through this Battle Royale and make it at least to the top 16 of the league. I don't know if possibly someone like Sophocles might get eliminated here, but I personally believe that all of them are going to make it. And other characters like Ilma, Gladion, of course, How, and Guzma are going to make it. So, one thing that I found was interesting recently was that Pokenchi actually aired a segment in which they were talking about the Alola League, and they aired this image that you see on the screen right now. And it shows 22 trainers that are entering the Alola League. And I can tell you right now, our top 16 is right here, right in front of us. But we have 22 characters here. So, which 6 do I think are getting eliminated in the Battle Royale? First of all, I'll get the elephant out of the room first. I personally believe that Jesse and James are definitely losing in the Battle Royale. I know some people might be disappointed, but I see it happening. In the preview for episode 129, we see Mimikyu and Pikachu fighting. So, yeah, I'm just going to say that Pikachu's going to win that battle. And James, what I feel is probably going to happen is probably going to have a comedic moment where Marini is going to jump right on him, chomp his head, and then immediately, like right after that, because James is distracted, Marini will will get hit and is eliminated. So yeah, that's those two will be out. As for the other 4, I don't see Mina making the actual league. I personally see her getting eliminated here by Plumeria. She has only had 1 episode before this league. I know How and Guzma have only had 1 episode, but I don't really know how she would mesh up in the tournament. So, for my prediction, I say she is going to be eliminated. I also believe the Alolan Doug Trio dude is, the DJ dude is going to get eliminated here as well. So, I'm going to count him out. 2 other characters I think that are going to be eliminated are the Pokenchi dude, the bald dude that you see in a lot of the Pokenchi segments. I can't see him surviving the Battle Royale. And then the old dude with the Phoebus. You know, the guy that's always getting his years mixed up and how it's been 20 years since a certain event has happened. That guy, yeah, he'll probably lose. He'll probably say it's been 20 years since I've entered a league, as maybe a reference to how long the series has been going. And then it's been 30 years since he's lost a league. I see that happening. So, yeah. So, that's it for the Battle Royale portion. Now on to the actual top 16. Now, on to the actual tournament portion of the Alola League. Here, I expect this first round to be 1v1. And here, I fully expect Sophocles, Mallow, and Lily to get eliminated. And I expect Kiawe and Lana to proceed, along with Guzma, Samson Oak, How, and Gladion. Just as a few examples of who I think is going to proceed and who's going to fall. So, originally I had Mallow going up against How, and Acerola and Lana facing off in this portion. But seeing as a spoiler for episode 130 just recently came out, it's titled Mal and Siren, which is their Japanese, or Mallow and Lana's Japanese names. It kind of implies that they're actually going to face each other in the tournament. So, I'm just going to go with this and say that they do face each other, in which Lana will come out victorious in this battle. And I'm just going to say that How versus Acerola is going to happen. I don't know if that's exactly what it's going to be, but if that's the case, How will definitely win this one. Might be a little freaked out about Acerola's dead Mimikyu, but yeah. So moving on to other characters I see facing off in the top 16, I think that Kiawe will go up against Hiker David, and it'll be a more comedic battle, especially with Hiker David. He's a funny dude. Funny dudes, I should say. But yeah, I see Kiawe coming up on top. That'll be probably a humorous battle. Another person I see getting eliminated here is Faba. I see Plumeria defeating him, or Guzma defeating him. It'll be one or the other going up here. I can see Sophocles either getting humiliated by Guzma, or even Plumeria. Maybe not too bad with Plumeria, but if it's Guzma, he's getting destroyed, which would be a little upsetting considering he had a development episode right before the league that was pretty good, and I don't want that development to be squashed completely, but yeah, if he goes up against Guzma, yeah, that's not going to be a good battle for Sophocles here. Another interesting battle that I think is going to take place in the top 16 is going to be Lily and Gladion, in which Lily is going to show a lot of growth as a trainer, and Gladion will probably acknowledge that, though still come out on top at the end. Another battle that I see is kind of an interesting one, probably not as interesting as Lily versus Gladion, but I see Samson Oak facing the baseball dude from the baseball episode. I cannot remember his name for the life of me, but I can see those two facing off with Samson Oak coming up on top there. And lastly, for the top 16, I personally see Ilima and Ash facing off here. Now, this would be probably more of a nod to the Let's Go games, but the main highlight here, of course, since it's 1v1, it will be Pikachu versus Eevee. And like I said, it's a tie-in to the Let's Go games, in which Ash will come out on top, and he'll probably steal Ilima's girls at the same time. So yeah, that's pretty much the top 16. So, on to the quarterfinals. Alrighty, we are on to the quarterfinals. So here, I see the following matchups. Ash versus How, Kiawe versus Gladion, Lana versus Guzma, and Plumeria versus Samson Oak, and these will be 3v3 battles. Now, just to explain myself, I think if Lana faces Guzma and loses, just like maybe someone like Sophocles, this would be very interesting and would give Ash a lot of motivation to defeat Guzma and vow to defeat him because he defeated 2 of his classmates. So that would be interesting. But something that would be interesting is Plumeria versus Samson Oak. I see Samson Oak defeating Plumeria pretty easily. Maybe he might struggle a little bit, but I can see Kamala actually doing and confusing Plumeria's Salamence. and actually not humiliating her, but defeating her in a way that actually ticks Guzma off. And considering that he may possibly be a former student of Samson Oak's, it would add some interesting dialogue there, and maybe Samson Oak will get more serious for once, instead of being more so a gag character. So, I kind of got those two out of the way because the other two combatants are a little bit more interesting. With Kiawe versus Gladion, I do think that that's going to be a very interesting battle. And I do think that Kiawe is not going to go down so easily. It'll be kind of similar to the battle in the Kalos League with Tierno versus Sawyer, where it's a 3v3 and it's a very close battle with them using a lot of interesting strategies. So I do think that this is going to be a pretty good battle. It might not be too long of a battle, but it'll be an interesting one nevertheless. And I can see it being Turtonator versus Savali at the end, with Gladion getting the upper hand due to Savali's different techniques with the discs, being able to possibly trick Kiawe and Turtonator, and with him coming up on top. So, yeah, unfortunately I see Kiawe and Lana losing here, unfortunately. But to get on to our last combatant, we have Ash versus How, which this will be a decent battle, I think. It'll be 3v3, but I think the main highlight will be Rowlet versus Decidueye. I do think that Pikachu and Alolan Raichu will face off, but the main focus here is going to be the rivals, and that'll be Rowlet and Decidueye. And I think that this will be an interesting battle, because Ash hasn't faced a Decidueye, so he's going to have a little bit of a hard time with this one, kind of like with Ilima, but I do think that he will eventually come out on top, pushing Ash to the semifinals. So with that said, we are on to the semifinals. Now on to the semifinals, which I think are going to be pretty interesting here. We have Ash versus Gladion, and we have Guzma versus Oak. These are kind of what I think is going to happen here. And I do think I'm going to start off with Guzma versus Oak, because I do think this will be an interesting battle, considering that Guzma might be really ticked off at Oak, and maybe just looking at Oak in the battlefield, it's going to trigger a flashback to his past if they go with the route of Samson Oak being a former teacher of Guzma's. So that would actually lead to some interesting dialogue and some interesting scenes if they go with that route. But I do think that Guzma will find a way to come out on top there and proceed to the finals. Now for Ash versus Gladion, which will probably be one of the two highlights of the league, being Ash versus Gladion and then the finals. So I see Ash using Pikachu, Melton, and Lycanroc, and Gladion will use his usual team of Umbreon, Savali, and Lycanroc. Now, I do think this will be a very close 3v3, but I see it, the main focus here, like with the previous two matches, will be the rivals. Like with Ilima versus Ash, it was Pikachu versus Eevee. With Ash versus How, it's Rowlet versus Decidueye. And then here, it's going to be the Lycanrocs that face one another. And Ash has lost, I think, 2 to 3 times against Gladion. So I think, yeah, he's due for a victory against him. It'll definitely be probably the toughest match yet. But I do think Ash is going to pull out in this one and pull out a victory. Gladion's going to be a little upset. And maybe, I don't know if he'll act like he does in the games where he almost has like a freaking breakdown. But one thing that I think I would like to see is when Gladion loses, he gives Ash a smile similar to the one he gives the player character in the Sun and Moon games. That would be pretty cool. That'd be a nice nod to the games if they did that. So yeah, that would be nice if that happened. But yeah, Ash is going to the finals. I think at this point it's pretty clear that that's the way they're going. Now, on to the finals, and for the final part of this video. And for the finals, we have Ash versus Guzma. Now, I think this is actually going to be a really interesting battle, considering we have pretty much a subplot going on with Guzma, with this league, with him wanting to destroy the league. I do think that this is going to be a very interesting battle, and this has the potential to be one of the best battles, or at least league battles, in all of Pokemon if they pull it off right, and it might be a better outcome than the Kalos League. Now, here's the thing. Will Ash finally win? Will this finally be where Ash wins? Do I predict an Ash victory here? The opening shows Ash versus Kukui, so he must be winning, right? Well, before you get too excited, I know there's a lot of people that are talking online about Ash having a great chance of winning. We did think that Ash was going to win the Kalos League, and yeah, they built up a lot of hype for that, and there's a lot of hints for that as well. And look how that turned out. And another thing too is openings don't always come true. I don't think Ash ever caught that grubbin unless he sent it to Oaken off screen land. But all joking aside, even though there's a lot of hints pointing towards Ash winning this league, there's also an equal amount of hints of Guzma winning this league. Like the fact that in Guzma's opening episode, it was teased because of his rivalry with Kukui and how they were fated to meet one another. So I'm just going to say, for the purpose of this prediction video, unfortunately, I predict that Ash will lose this league. Even though I think he deserves the win, I'm going with two reasons. The history with the anime, with Ash constantly losing the league. Let's be honest, he's lost every single league, so history's going against Ash. And he's also going against someone that is a really strong opponent. He's already proven himself to be a strong opponent in his debut episode, so it's someone that Ash is going to have a hard time overcoming. Now, I know this would disappoint a lot of people, considering Ash declared that he would defeat Guzma, but hear me out for a second. I don't think Ash is going to go out like a chump like he did against Tobias. He's going to put up a very decent fight. And I do believe that they may actually go more than 3v3 here. They might even go with Ash might actually use all of his Pokemon in this battle. He might even bring out a sixth one. Who knows? That'd be cool. But I'm just going to say that it's going to go down to the wire. It will probably be Pikachu versus Golisopod at the end, but Ash, having seen the weakness in Golisopod before, will have Pikachu probably land a Z move on that weak spot, but at the same time, Golisopod is going to see Pikachu open and land an equal blow. And when the dust clears, I think that Pikachu will have fallen. But this will begin, in my opinion, Guzma's redemption arc, which is hopefully something that Pokemon's going to be doing. They seem to be setting up a potential Guzma redemption arc. So I can see here Guzma realizing that, Ash wasn't, this weak kid that he went up against, and that he was actually a formidable opponent. And this may actually cause some change in Guzma, but to save face in front of his grunts, he declares his victory, makes fun of Ash, or makes fun of everybody, telling him he's the best trainer in Alola and that he destroyed Kukui's dream. And that's when Mask Royale will show up. Kukui, who's been watching all of this, inspired by Ash's words from episode 128, vows to defeat Guzma. And he will do just that in the expedition match. And because of this, Guzma, having some thoughts of Mask Royale seeming familiar, will realize that Mask Royale is Kukui. He will then attempt to expose Kukui. And as he tries to do that, the Ultra Wormhole springs open, and thus we begin the final arc of Sun and Moon, in which would bring together Guzma's redemption arc, the Ultra Guardian plot, and possibly the Moan plot. I'm predicting that that's what's going to happen at the end of this league. I know it sounds a little cliche because we just had that pretty much with X and Y, but that's the way I see things going at this point, so it wouldn't surprise me if it happened. So yeah, that's what I think is possibly going to happen in this league. So, tell me in the comment section below what you think is going to happen in this league. Tell me your predictions. I would like to hear them. And if you'd like this video and you like my thoughts on the series, be sure to like and subscribe, as I will be doing impression videos for the Alola League. And in each impression video, I'm going to be going over my original predictions for this league and seeing how they hold up with each episode. And I might be doing some other stuff with the Pokemon anime and talking about it in the future. And I might be covering other series, so stay tuned for the future. With that being said, this video is done. So, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good night, or day, or wherever you're at. So, peace out.